They say revenge burns you alive. But something strange happened to me. I felt peace. A deep, quiet peace that washed over me the moment I pressed enter and watched the entire system vanish into darkness. But this story begins long before that. Back when everyone saw me as nothing more than a fragile employee. A girl forced to train her own replacement. And pretend to smile while doing it. My name is Amelia Hart. The coast of Brighton, back in the UK, used to be my childhood sanctuary, but as an adult, that city reminds me of only one thing. My greatest loss, and my most brilliant revenge. I had been working at a tech company called Crestfall Innovations for the past 7 years. When I first joined, I was just a tech girl running on coffee and all-nighters. But over time, I built everything the company depended on, especially the central core management system. I built that system the way someone builds a home, with care, with love, and with an understanding of every little flaw and every hidden crack. But people never understand what you sacrificed. The announcement. It was a Monday morning when Edward Collins, our HR head, walked up to my desk. His smile looked like something someone had forced onto his face. Amelia, the board needs to see you. Just hearing that sentence sent a cold shiver down my spine. When I entered the meeting room, CEO Marcus Reed, CTO Henry Walsh, and a few unfamiliar faces were sitting around the table. Amelia, Marcus said with a fake warmth, we're taking the company into a new phase. Efficiency, modernization, cost optimization. I understood immediately. All those words were simply a fancy preface for one sentence. We don't need you anymore. And sure enough, Marcus finally said it. You will be transitioning your responsibilities to a new engineer. Starting today, you'll train him. I froze. My breathing turned uneven. Train, my replacement. The words barely escaped my mouth. CTO Henry shrugged. It's standard procedure. Something inside me cracked. 7 years of hard work, all those nights, all those sacrifices. And this was my reward. Being forced to prepare the person who would take my place. The guy they brought in was Leon Barker, young, confident, and far too pleased with himself. He didn't even seem to understand whose position he was replacing. His first sentence actually made me laugh and fume at the same time. So, you're the one I'm replacing. In my mind, I whispered. No, you're not replacing me. You're just my first chess piece. The weeks of humiliation. The next 3 weeks were the worst days of my career. Every day, I had to sit with Leon and teach him everything I had built over years. Sometimes he paid attention. Sometimes he mocked things. Sometimes he said, why did you build it like this? Why is this part so complex? Why didn't you write clearer documentation? After a point, I just stared at him in silence. CTO Henry kept circling around us, as if checking whether I was training him properly. One day, I finally asked Henry, is there any chance the board might reconsider? Staring at his reflection in the glass wall, he replied, no, you should be grateful we're giving you 2 more weeks. And in my heart, I thought, grateful, you took everything. Revenge doesn't strike all at once. It grows slowly, like a flame rising from deep inside a piece of wood. One evening, after everyone had left the office, I sat alone at my desk. The system I had built, my codebase, glowed on the screen in front of me. And for the first time, a thought crossed my mind. What if this system didn't exist anymore? No, I wasn't a hacker, nor a criminal. But there is one truth in programming. Nothing is ever as unbreakable as people think. One line, one string, one tiny logical trap, and the whole structure collapses. I didn't write anything harmful. Just a harmless fail-safe. A small trigger. Something that would activate only under one condition. And that condition, when my name no longer existed in the system environment. Meaning, when they fully replaced me. When they revoked my access. When I was completely removed. That's when the fail-safe would activate. And the system would reset itself. No hacking. No illegal behavior. Just a documented fail-safe that any senior engineer could place inside a platform. I looked at the screen one last time and whispered. If you erase me, the system erases itself. The day finally arrived. HR was smiling, Leon was practically glowing, the CEO shook my hand formally, and I signed my final papers. Your access will be revoked at midnight. Edward Said. My heartbeat quickened. Because I knew. The real show would begin after midnight. That moment. That waiting. That quiet calm. I'll never forget The clock struck 12. I was sitting alone by Brighton's shoreline, sipping tea. The sea was calm, but my mind was a storm. Suddenly, my phone screen lit up. Emails, panicked calls, endless notifications. Urgent. Core system down. Amelia, are you awake? Something's wrong. The system crashed after your access was removed. I took the last sip of my tea. The wind brushed my hair across my face. And I said to myself, you forced me to train my replacement. But you forgot one thing. I never taught him how to replace me. The next day, the company was in chaos. Leon's face had gone pale. CTO Henry stood with one hand on the wall, his head hanging low. CEO Marcus was shouting at everyone. Find her. Call her. Bring her back. But the situation was clear. I hadn't done anything wrong. I hadn't broken any law. I hadn't written any illegal code. Just a fail-safe, fully documented, right there in the system notes. Henry, the CTO, had very few choices left. Either rebuild everything from scratch, or somehow convince me to come back. That evening, a message popped up on my phone. We want to discuss a rehiring offer. I smiled, and deleted the message. Because for the first time in my life, I had tasted freedom. I left Brighton behind. In London, I found a new company. Orion Tech Labs. They respected me, listened to me, and most importantly, they trusted me. Months later, one morning, I saw a headline in the paper. Crestfall Innovations faces major setback after internal collapse. I took a long breath and thought. I didn't destroy them. I just saved myself. Because revenge is complete, not when someone else falls, but when you rise to a place you never imagined possible, and when you can look back at your past and smile.